Hello, friends. Kyle again with another story about how it felt to be in Oprah's presence one on one. The last one, I pursued her, and this one is it happens after that, and she summoned me, essentially like this from across the room. Kyle, come here. So a very different experience. And but before I get into that, I want to mention our "Give Him His Wings Back" campaign. This time, not to talk about where we're at or where we're going, in sense of the financial success of the campaign, but more about the why and what we mean when we say we're going to strengthen 1 million men by 2035, which is our big goal as an organization. One of those domains in which strength can be um, developed is we, for too long, our society has taught men that strength means staying self sufficient. And I believe in transforming that into self compassion. What do I mean by that? So, Sarah, my wife, probably within a month of her passing away in 2020, my youngest son looks at me and says, "Dad, what happens to me if something happens to you?" And you guys, I had not once thought about that in the nearly 9 years of caring for his mother. Um, and that began my journey towards self compassion because it became abundantly clear to me um, that I mattered, that my health, my well being um, wasn't optional. It wasn't a luxury. It wasn't, um, you know, being cavalier with my time. It mattered a great deal, and what I've come to believe now is it matters more than anything else. And so that's what I mean. So that's an example of strengthening, and I just imagine a world where men who are caregivers, they don't just know that up here, but they know it in here, and they're able to make themselves a priority so they can show up for everyone that they love as the best version of themselves. So back to Oprah. Oprah summons me over. I come running over there. I'm only really, having the clarity that I have now because I've reflected on this experience so much. But um, something that I was reminded of during that reflection is one of Oprah's mentors, Dr. Maya Angelou, is one of the most influential figures, writers um, in history, in my belief, one of the most inspiring, and has had an enormous impact on who I am, how I show up in the world, and of course, for millions and millions and millions of other people as well, and especially Oprah. How many interviews have they done together? Um, I couldn't even begin to guess how much time they've spent together. And so it hit me like Oprah probably learned that from Dr. Angelou, and then, you know, coaching, mentoring, because that's what Maya did for her. And here I was receiving that from Dr. Angelou through Oprah. And that just absolutely brought me to my knees. I remembered something that I learned from Dr. Angelou in one of her commencement speeches. She talked about when you have a big moment, bring everyone with you that ever loved you, that ever supported you. Uh, this is my horrible impersonation of her, but she says, Grandma, come on, you know, here we go. Dead or alive, you know, everyone who ever loved you, bring them with you. And she said, if you do that, people will, they'll say things like, you know, they don't, you have so much charisma that they'll just light up and be blown away by your presence. And and that's how, you know, when folks watch the podcast, people that know me the most, and even those that don't know me very well, you know, were just so generous with their compliments and telling me, wow, you know, what an amazing performance. And Dr. Angelou said it best. She said, you know, it's not charisma. People will think that it is, that you have charisma or you have some sort of chutzpah or that you're just gifted in some way. And she said, no, it's all those people that you brought with you that loved you. And amen, that's what it was, you know. And I've learned, and I had forgotten that I even practiced this when I go to speak at a you know, an event, or I'm on an important media opportunity. That's what I've done for years. Is I think of the people who made me who I am, uh, and who loved me in hard times, not just the good times, and I bring them with me, and I brought them with me that day, and and here I was being coached, being mentored by Dr. Angelou, who I learned that from through Oprah Winfrey. Um, I still have a hard time believing that happened. So you're maybe wondering, well, what did you say? Uh, Back to Oprah, she asked me this. In that moment, I don't have any of this clarity. I'm just freaking out, and I say, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I learned what jewel toned clothing is. Because when I'm nervous, my coping strategy is to try to be funny. Um, and I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny. It's just what comes out of me because I'm scared, I guess, to wrestle with the truth. And but I don't say that because I'm so humbled by who's asking me this question. And jewel tone clothing. Why did I think that? That was an email that the team had sent us before we came to the taping, was that's what we needed to wear, and I had literally never heard this this term in my life, and so but I don't say that. I instead, I what popped out of my mouth was, I learned to speak up. And you know, that was just reflecting on the fact that I had spoken up, you know, to her and to Aaron, and that the outcome of that was, you know, pure magic. And I maybe was only did it because I was forced to, because I was in such a desperate mode. Um, and so she kind of looked off and said, and then looked back at me and said, I like that. And then walked away. And yeah, so that's how would I characterize that feeling? I think you know, in the moment it was just an, you know, not, I had no appreciation really for what had just happened. So it was kind of like maybe in my head, just crickets chirping, like, but having reflected on it, I would say it was a sense of awe, pure awe, and mainly for Maya Angelou and what who she was and who she still is in my heart. And I want you, Dr. Angelo, to know that I'm bringing you with me. And to Oprah, this is me speaking up. This is me not just, having learned something from you and your mentor, but also me practicing it, because getting on here and talking into this thing and putting it on the internet is it's about as comfortable for me as walking on broken glass with bare feet. But it matters, and I'm doing it, and what we are doing here matters. And thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing this with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll just end with another example of what we mean by strengthening men. Is for too long men have been taught that staying strong means staying silent, and we are changing that. We are saying, no, staying strong means speaking up. And the way that we're saying that is staying strong means asking for help. It's the same thing, right? Speaking up, asking for help. These are the same ideas. And so that's what we mean by strengthening men who are caregivers. And we need your help to do that, for 1,000 men in 2026, so that we're on track to do it for 1 million men by 2035. Go to www.jackscaregiverco.org, hit the donate button, and you'll be taken to our campaign page where you can read more. Next time, I'm going to talk about how it felt to come home back to the Twin Cities after this incredible experience that I had in New York with Oprah Winfrey. And I can tell you that also was a journey that was filled with surprises and highs and lows. And I'm just so delighted to have the opportunity to share that with you. Hope you all have a great week. See you next time.